go.
Okay, this one.
I will watch it live on my laptop. Let me just put. Hello and welcome to Youth and Social Life. My name is Damilola Okunshaki, and today on Youth and Social Life we'll be discussing youth recovery from COVID-19 and youth grooming. I'm sure it's no longer a news that COVID-19 is a global emergency. Its economic and social impact have disrupted nearly all aspects of life for all groups in the society. That's why today we are looking at how youth can recover from COVID-19 and also especially after the COVID-19 season is over. So to discuss with me today on the show is Honorable Dayo Israel. He's a permanent board member for Quality Assurance at SUBEB. That's Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board. In 2016, he was recognized as one of top 25 promising Nigerian youths under 35 to serve Nigeria. Honorable Dayo has twice been named in 2016 and 2017 as one of 50 United Kingdom's brightest young man. Also, he was named one of the 100 most influential people of African descent under 40 as part of the 2017 celebration of the United Nations Decade for people of African descent in New York City. You're welcome, Honorable.
Thank you so much for
It's
having
lovely
me on the
having
show.
you
How are
with
you?
us. I'm very, very fine. You know, okay, so going to the main reason why we're here today. You know, recently, NECA raised an alarm that 74.2% of business, have stopped operating. And before they actually raised that alarm, we've seen companies saying they're cutting salaries, they're laying staffs off, and of course this is due to the fact that they've not been able to recover from COVID-19 season, and we're still there. So imagine companies not being able to recover from them. So do you think Nigerian youths can recover from this COVID-19 season, especially after?
I think the reality is that COVID is an unprecedented era. And it has changed the way that we live, the way the world is, the way that we respond to issues, the way that even businesses run, and the way that the world will be. We would never go back to the way we were before COVID. It is both a blessing and a curse. Not a curse, really. It's both a blessing and a challenge, and it depends on how you look at things. And as young leaders, we must look at things from the positive perspective. First, we must thank God for those who are still alive, and also pray for the soul of those who have gone to meet their Creator in this season, particularly the eminent leaders and the ordinary Nigerians that we've lost, and people from across the globe that have lost their lives. But then, because COVID is here, does not mean that it is the end for all of us. It does also mean that we must brace up. One of my mentors, Robert H. Schuller, said, "Tough time never lasts, but tough people do." So life already always has its toughness that it presents to us. But we, in particular, we're talking about young people here, as leaders of tomorrow, must be tough enough to be able to show to the world that we will be able to adapt, we will be able to change, to be able to survive in the world of today. The reality is that the world is changing. Many years ago, people were using those telephones that you had to circle to call.
Yes.
Today, we have mobile phones, we have WhatsApp, we have voice, we have many platforms to communicate. We have Telegram, we have Skype, we have many other platforms. The same way with the world today, there's going to be an evolving. And the reality is that the world itself would not have evolved easily the way we have evolved in COVID season.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. Many people who do events and conferences and seminars always believe that you have to rent a hall to do your weddings, you have to do your conferences and your meetings in large places. You all have to see each other. Even companies, if you don't come to the office, they fine you. Nobody believed in virtual working. The staff can take it. Everybody has to come to the office. And that put a lot of strain on Third Bridge, on the roads. There's so many traffic. Spend 8 hours in traffic. But guess what? COVID-19 has came. We are forced to now begin to adopt technology in the way that we converse, in the way that business operates, in the way that we communicate, in the way that we interact with one another. The benefit of that is that as a result of the adoption of technology with COVID, we're now able to do things differently, things that we would not have been able to do in a long time, things we would not have been able to embrace in a long time. There are many companies now who have their staff working from home, and they are now able to use technology to do Zoom meetings and to do webinars and do Microsoft things that if not for COVID, they would never have adopted technology. They would never have said you can work from home. The manager would have called you if you didn't show up. They would have issued query. They would have threatened you over 15 or 20,000 naira they are paying for Nigerians, And you realize that the money people are already also getting, they are spending it on transport. But now you can earn your salary. It can stay long in your hand. You don't have to, the only thing you have to spend money on is data. And also, businesses that people never thought about have now become prime businesses. So if you create apps and solutions that people can digitalize, look at what has happened to the share capital of Zoom, for example, and other platform. Everybody is now also creating a meeting. I wish Nigeria can create those kind of apps and solutions that can also, then be adopted in times like this, and we can also make some quality dollars. So to recover and to be able to survive in it, we'll talk about businesses, struggling. Yes, it is, because the buying power of a lot of people has become low because there's really no money in circulation. But the reality is that those who are innovative are also still making money. Those who are able to find what is the problem that people have, what solution can I create? So, because money is a value in exchange, money is an exchange for value. It's an exchange for a solution. People will pay you for a problem you choose to solve. Even in organizations, there are people that they can sack and there are people that would never be redundant because of the value that they place to such organizations. They are lifeblood to such entities and individual and initiatives. So what I'm saying is, the people and the young people who are going to survive and who are going to be relevant in the world of tomorrow, are even the world of COVID and the post-COVID world, are those who are able to innovate, those who are able to be flexible, who are able to adapt, and who are able to create solutions that the world is going to need.
Well, this COVID-19 has really put a lot of pressure on youth and men, likely financial. So
Yes.
how do you think they can really overcome this financial
That's what I said.
problem?
Find a problem to solve. They're talking about finances. Number one, people will still continue to
Well,
eat.
it's not
People will still continue to eat.
but not
That's the
everybody,
sector.
not everybody is actually problem solver.
So that's the issue. People who are, remember my first quote, tough time never lasts, but tough people do. At the same way, not everybody will survive. Because some people, if they refuse to adapt, are going to beg. You have to make a leadership decision. You have to make a self-decision to say, I am not going to drown in this challenge. You cannot be spoon-fed. Nobody spoon-feed anybody. Everybody has to survive, has to be creative, has to be innovative, has to pay their price. You must be ready to find a solution that people are willing to pay for. Except there are charities. Nobody gives anybody anything for free, except there are NGOs. So they are doing charitable work. They will go, the Cocoa Foundations, what's the organization called again? Food Click. They will give you, and what do they call that thing? And bowl or hand, what is it called? Just eat for the day.
Yeah.
No, but that's not noble enough for a young person. You must also, you must find a solution. You must be creative.
Okay.
There are people who are doing graphic designs in this period. There are people who are hosting web. Do you know one thing? People are saying that there's nobody. Guess what the musicians have done? What they went to do, the guys who they only make their money from doing shows and parties, they'll be singing for you. Although, guess what they have done? Because there's no party for them to spray money, they go on Instagram. They put their account number at the bottom of the pin and pin their account number, and they start praising you. You want them to praise you? You transfer money to their account. When they confirm your alert, they will use your name from the alert to start praising you. Oh, they praise you. They see the next account from, let's say, let me use my government today. Someone what are they doing? They're making money
from there.
They're innovating. Yes. Somebody will say, oh, I'm waiting for when they will open venues and events and drive-through concert for us. You will wait until eternity because nobody knows when this is going to happen. But you have to, you are a caterer. You haven't had any place to go on. Can't you do orders from home? You can tell people we can deliver. Delivery machines are working. You have to be creative. You have to look for, just to be able to survive. It is your creativity. Even God says, I will bless the works of your hand. When there's no work in your hand, there's nothing for God to bless. It means that God is blessing emptiness. And 0 times 0 is not 1.
Yes.
It's 0.
Yes. Thank you very much for that. Honorable, if I'm not mistaken, you are the youngest board member of Lagos State Universal Basic Education.
I believe so.
Yeah, so this is something that is very, very difficult to really achieve, and especially for you. So how did you break the glass ceiling?
First, I want to say it's the glory of God, and the tenacity and prayerfully the tenacity over the years. If you solve problems, if you bring solutions, you will get a seat at the table. Proverbs 29:11 says, have you seen a man diligent in his works? He will stand before kings and not mean men. When you live a life of value, a life of service, a life of problem solving, automatically, even without anything, you will normally attract opportunities. And this is not the first time I'm getting such opportunity to the glory of God with all sense of humility and modesty. To the glory of God, I was the first Deputy Senate President of the Nigerian Children's Parliament far back as year 2000. In 2002, I went to represent Nigeria. I led the Nigerian Children delegation to UNGAS in New York, the UN General Assembly Association of Children in New York, where I met Mandela and addressed a lot of presidents and heads of state in conference room 4 at the UN headquarters. And as soon as I finished, they said they were looking for 2 young people, a male and a female, to represent the children who attended from their various countries, 300 children from all over the world, live on CNN. They picked me to represent the male from all over the world, and another Emilia Grakas from Denmark to represent the female. We're live on CNN for 1 hour. The videos are on YouTube, to the glory of God. Because to the glory of God, there's been years of consistently solving problems and creating solutions. I started my NGO when I was 8. I started doing outreaches. I have the videos on YouTube. My first outreach when I was 9 in Never School in Ebutimeta.
Sorry to cut you in from that part now. You said you started when you were 8. You started
Yes,
your NGO
yes,
when you were
yes.
8. What actually motivated you to start that at the age of
It was the military era in Nigeria, and I was so concerned. Let's just say it's inquisitiveness. From childhood, I've always been very restless in a very positive way. I've always been very inquisitive. So I started reading newspapers from when I was very young, 4, 5, 6. I was reading books. I didn't really grasp everything, but I remember that even at the age of 8, 9, I was reading missionary books about Christians that were being killed in Korea, who were preaching the gospels in dungeons in China and all of that. And I begin to cry when I read the stories, and I began to say, God, I want to go and I want to preach the gospel. I want to be able to defend people like this and all of that. And because of that, I started doing a lot of things. Even as a young child, started doing a lot of advocacy. I had a child rights organization then, special action against the violation of human, student, and children's rights. So I was a child at that time. I was also a student at that time. I got into GSS1 at the age of 8. So I was already, doing a lot of those advocacies. I remember in 1999 when Afsat Abiola came to Nigeria, 98, 99, after MK was dead, and she was going to start KIND, Kudurat Michidi for Democracy. I was at the table too. I was the youngest man. Shrinka was the chairman of the organization, of the board of the organization. I was at the table with Jimmy Ate, Jikato, Tony Abe, Mark Shoyinka, and the others at MKO House in Ikeja, to the glory of God. I remember in 1999, 98, 99, it was December, I'm sure it was after Abacha's death, it was December of that year in particular, 98, 99, 2000. I used to go to this day Dome in Creek Road, where Olisa Bakuba and the others used to have their Democracy Day kind of activity event every end of the year. And, I would sit with Ganifa Wemi, Femi Falan and the other. I was very little at that time. So I always say to people, you must begin to help children to identify their gift, their talent, their deposits, and their role from a very young age. You can't say to a child that there's nobody that is too young. 2 Timothy chapter 4, I think it was 1:12 or 4:12. 1 Timothy 4:12 says, "Let no man tell you that you are young, but be an example." So, nobody should tell you that. At 16, I knew what I was doing. At 16, if I'm correct, I hosted the UN Young General Assembly session in Nigeria. I brought 156 young people from all over the world to Nigeria. I had President Obasanjo declare the event open. No, was it 16 or 17? I think I was 18. Yes, I think I was 18. But 16 was New York. And South Africa, I led the children delegation. I still have the pictures on Google, delegation to the World Summit on Sustainable Development in South Africa. By 18, I was holding that from. Frank Kweke came there, represented the presidency. Brian Mantu was Deputy Senate President of the National Assembly. He came because I was Deputy Senate President of the Children's Parliament. Okay. We had visas processed for all these people.
Okay, honorable, to attain this level, I'm sure there must have been a lot of grooming from your parents, from your teachers from an early age. So what do you think that children of nowadays are actually lacking?
So let me first clear something. Don't make an excuse, young people, and expect that my father was not there, my mother was not there. I lost my father when I was 11. So it wasn't even like my father. There wasn't anybody in my family that inspired what I was doing and I still do today. It was God and the prayer of my mother. My mother was always praying that God would help me to become who He wanted me to be, and that He would help me to identify His purpose for my life. That was a role, spiritual and prophetic leading. That was the part of my mother. But to now identify, when I started doing NGO, my mother used to beat me. That because it was unpopular at that time. I got baptized in Redeem in 1998. I was a child. I was under 18 at that time.
So what was the reason for that?
At that time in Redeem, you were not allowed to be baptized until you were 18 because the policy of the church, the doctrine was that you're not an adult yet. You couldn't make a decision that you could be baptized. But I got baptized. I became a worker. I did my workers training in Lekki 98 and sanitation department. You understand what I'm saying? So, and that's when my mother said, this is risky. You are doing activism. You are following people that they are arresting and putting in jail. What do you even know? You understand?
Yes.
I will go to conference. I will bring all the reports, human rights report, law report from Ganifa Wemi. I will go to CLO in Hubert Street in Jibowu. I'll carry out the report. I'll take it home. I used to tear the sofa in our living room where I sleep on. I'll tear, bring out the foam, then tear the clothes. I'll now hide my books inside those. The day my mother saw them, oh my God.
Nigerian parents.
But guess what? When the Queen of England invited me to Buckingham Palace, and Punch newspaper took the story, and it was everywhere. Guardian too wrote the story, a lot of people, and they put it on the cover page of the newspaper at that time. My mother took that newspaper, went to church to give testimony. So what am I saying to young people who are watching this at home is, don't wait for anybody to help you. You have to. David said, I encourage myself in the Lord. You have to look inward. You have to go inside yourself to find out, why am I here? You must ask the purpose question. Why am I here? What am I here to do? What problem am I created to solve? And begin to solve it, even because we're too encumbered by survival, by making money, because there's so much poverty and people are just about how do we, but there's something called delayed gratification. You must be ready to pay the price, be ready to sacrifice. People see me today on the board of Subeb, Yes, I give God the glory. But it's been 20-something years of advocacy, of development. I represented Nigerian children when I was 17 at the World Water Forum in Japan. I was a one-day commissioner for information in Lagos State at the age of 17, to the glory of God. And it wasn't because my mother or anybody in my family was helping me. I was a hustler.
But let's just forget you are a hustler. Now we have children also who needs to be motivated by the society. So what do you think?
Society will not
done?
motivate you. You have to motivate yourself. See, let me tell you something. Most of the guys,
for you to motivate yourself, you also need things that will also motivate you.
So let me tell you what motivated me. Was that every time when I was going to school, I would go to. So I had two motivations. One from the scripture. I know the Bible from beginning to the end. I've read it. So I read the story of Josiah became king at 8, Joab became king at 12, and all the young people in the scripture that God was using to do me. And I said, no, I also must be able to do this exploit for God. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who went into the fire and came out. I said, no, there's nothing I cannot achieve if I set my heart to it. I don't believe anything is impossible in the place of prayer. That motivated me spiritually. So that was my first foundational fire that made me understand that there was no limit. That even though I was born in my, I was not born to be poor. Even though I grew up in a Butemeta, I was not going to ever live a beggarly life. That was number one. Then, every time I was going to a Butemeta, every time I go to school, I would go to Oyinbo bus stop, Jeba bus stop in Oyinbo. That Oyinbo, before you turn to Papa Road Railway. At that time, there wasn't the road demarcation like we're in the center of that Oyinbo, opposite where the current First Bank is. There used to be vendors in the middle of the road, people selling pepper, and then there's a vendor by that junction where you will stand and read newspaper. So I would go there. The only paper I loved most was Ovation magazine. I would beg the guy to let me see, and I would see all the rich people, influential people, powerful people. Antonio Dende Fernandez, I saw his house in an island in New York. In I think it was the year 2000 or 1999 edition of Ovation. That house, see, that today we're talking about biometric, we're talking about fingerprints. Dende Fernandez's house in 1998, on an island in New York. The door to open it was with fingerprint and biometric. We need Jesus. You understand?
Yes.
I remember my brother and I, we would go to headquarters every last Sunday of the month. It was breakthrough service. And we begin to sing, Tori mi bere, Jesus, Tori mi bere. We will be praying, we know what I'm making. So it's also to channel the energy through the right way.
Yes.
You don't have to go and do Yahoo because you want to be successful. You prayerfully capture your destiny. You prayerfully become who God wants you to be. And we started doing NQ, started doing advocacy, started doing a lot of things. Opportunities started coming. We'll go to America, we'll go to Japan, I went to about 20, 30 countries before I was even, 20, to the glory of God. Went all over the world. When you go on those trips, you get DSA, you get daily subsistence allowance. We save them, we do something with our life to the glory of God. That was how, UNICEF was, at those years, UNICEF was they were taking care of us. You go to a trip, where was it Italy or something I went at that time. Your daily DSA at that time was about $200 per day.
I think that's
So we would just save the money. We'll hustle ourselves, just save the money, come back to Nigeria and do something with ourselves. So all of those allowances also plays a role to help people to stabilize and all of that. So the point was, society is not wired the way our society is in Africa. It's not wired to encourage you or to motivate you. You have to jarai.
You have to pick yourself.
I intentionally use the word jarai in a good and positive way. You have to determine no. So when I saw Dende Fernandez's house, I saw some weddings with Abacha's wife. I went there, like that song, I didn't go, sir. That go to only answer my call. No. We said I must do something. So I started, doing a lot. I started pushing myself out there.
But you said you were pushing yourself and you're working very hard and you'll be doing it.
I was prayerful.
And you're prayerful,
Yes.
doing it yourself. But we're talking about these children who really easily get discouraged.
Do you know what I was at that time? Do you know what I was? I was less than 18.
Yes, sir.
I was less than 18.
Okay.
My mother did not believe in what I was doing. She was reporting me to my uncle and everything. As a matter of fact, my grandfather, when he saw I was buying PM News, with the allowance he gives me every week, I was still in secondary school, and I left secondary school in the year 2000, 2001.
Sorry to cut you in. I think we remember that. Let's go on a short break, and when we return, we'll continue from where we stopped.
Good evening, my good people of Ondo State and family members of our departed colleague and compatriot, Dr. Wahab Adegbero. A while ago, I was briefed of his demise. The state had lost one of his most dutiful commissioners.
All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Youth and Social Life. My name is Damilola Ogunshaki, and of course here in Youth and Social Life today we'll be discussing youth recovery from COVID-19 and youth grooming. And I've had Honorable Darius Israel, a permanent board member of SUBEB. He has been, telling us many things and many juicy things. I'm sure you've not missed us. Of course, you can always go back to watch the videos, and you can always create a watch party with your friends in order to keep them updated. Thank you and welcome back, Honorable Dayo.
Thank you.
Before we went on the break, you were telling us some juicy details, giving us some juicy details, talking about children and how they can be motivated. Anna.
Yes, so like I said, the society doesn't not naturally support you, and your age is not, for example, I have too many young people. Let me tell you one story that people forget. Almost every artist who came out of Ajegunle was not supported by any family or parent. They came out of that because of resilience and because they believed in their hustle.
But not everybody can be like that. We know that.
All of us have innate ability. Let me tell you what the Declaration of Independence said. I was in, where was this again? I was in Monticello, Montpelier in Virginia in the United States. The US government took me on a fellowship program, IVLP. And I saw live copies of the US Declaration of Independence. It says we hold this truth, you understand, that all human beings are born equal and with inalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Everyone is born with the same cap. We all spend the same 24 hours. You have the same capacity to achieve greatness as Dangote. This might not sound political. Okay. I'll hold it.
Okay.
But the point is, I don't believe that Dangote, with all due respect, has anything greater than what I have. It is only a process of time. You understand? And the scripture says the earth is waiting for the manifestations of the sons of God. You have to manifest. There's nobody that was born without something. Even a child that was born blind was given something.
Yes.
A sense organ to smell or to hear or to do something. The Yoruba will say, or something, there's nobody. The challenge is that people are looking at the wrong things, or they are not focusing on where they should focus. Everybody wants things to be easy. Do you know I slept on the bus in London? I went to a church for 7 days to do vigil. They thought I came for vigil, but I was there because I had nowhere to sleep. We were coming from Japan for World Water Forum in Japan. We're in Paris. I don't know, I think we missed that kind of something. We had to sleep on the iron chair in the airport, in Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport. Everybody has had one story of adversity or the other. I was living with my auntie in a house in London. And in England, people pay rent, they pay water bills, they pay everything. It's not like in Nigeria here where we take a lot of things for granted. One money she work with, you better me love for now. Go and rent your own place. And I didn't have money.
Okay, Honorable, most of the excuse that we just see now is that, you see people saying that my parents, they were not educated enough. But now we are seeing youths that are coming up as parents and they've been educated and they're doing this now. And we still see children not being encouraged. So what do you think is this problem? Do you think we ourselves, and you as you that are growing up, we can actually, solve this issue? And do you think they've actually been trained enough?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Is that we have a responsibility to become something. You can't wait on any parent to help you. The most your parent can do for you is to pray. Because your parents themselves have lived in a generation where they had to go through challenges, through military years, through poverty, through many. I was the one that took my mother to England for the first time. I took my grandmother on the plane myself, to the glory of God, for the first time. First class, Nigeria. From Nigeria, we traveled abroad. I think I was 20 something at that time. You have to make something out of your life. There is a deposit of greatness inside of you. And you cannot wait for your parent or for anybody. My leader, Shawajibula Tinubu, will say, power is not served a la carte. A lot of people want to become relevant politically and waiting for somebody. No, you have to hustle your way prayerfully. I've said that. Because see, it's not everybody who hustles that makes it. But when you are prayerfully and close to God, Bible says when a man ways please God, even his enemy will be at peace with him. The reality is, you have to. We lived in a room until I was about 10, 11. 8 of us in a room. My mother, my grandmother, my brother, myself, my aunties. I was sleeping on the Macintosh on the floor because I used to bedwet. No, it was a gift.
I understand.
It was a gift. Let me explain why it's a gift for you. Do you know what photosynthesis is?
Yes.
What's photosynthesis?
So let me explain that.
Eh?
No, just talking about that bed.
No. What is photosynthesis? The process at which the sun takes and absorbs water into the sky. So, now, during dry season, when there's no rain and there's no liquid, it takes the goodwill and generosity of people like me to produce liquid on the foam. We take it outside to dry. So the rain finds something to.
Are you giving excuse for people who have been drenching now?
It's a gift.
It's a gift. Okay. I think I will keep that somewhere. Okay, Honorable Neil, let me just ask you this. Talking about this now, during this COVID-19, I've seen a lot of youth wasting away. Not just youth, children. You just see them outside. Sometimes I'll just see children drinking different type of things, like taking pelebe, all these things they call pelebe, different type of alcohol and all that. So, how are you and the Lagos government, how are you planning to help these people that are wasting away?
So first, let me handle that from two sides. It takes a community to raise a child. Government is there. We'll come back to what government is doing. But I would say this even if I was not serving or giving them, in this capacity in government. I say this as a Nigerian, as a human being. We have a responsibility as families, as churches and mosques, religious communities, as NGOs, to safeguard the young people in our society. We all have a role to play to make our community better, to make our society better. We will come to government, but government cannot fix everything. First, we need to deal with our mindset as citizens. It is not government that tells us, for example, to go and pour our waste into the gutter and block the drainage and cause flood in our community. Of course, there may be a factor where the waste management authority may not come to your area to pick your waste from high. But there are some times where we as citizens, the difference between the guys who live in America and in Europe and us is the mindset that we have. We have a mindset that is sometimes you see some people with a very poor mindset. And so I always say something. Poverty is not the lack of money. It is a mindset.
Yes.
My family grew up in a room. We migrated to a room and parlor. But we have always had the mindset that we're made for more. And there are many families who have risen from abject poverty out of resilience to do something. They're cautious. They have values. But, some people have just... What is killing us in this country is that a lot of us are citizens. So when you now go to government and you're talking about government, the problem did not get wrong when they got to government. The problem is that the people who came into government came from families that had no values. They didn't jump down from heaven. They were individuals who were part of the society and families. So they get into government, and sometimes some of them mess up because of the product of the family or the background or the upbringing they have come from. So it is important that we fix families. We deal with the home, the values in the community. The churches should rise up. The faith-based institutions should rise up. The NGOs too. It's okay to go and share food here and there, but we need to begin to look at holistic intervention, sustainable intervention. It is good to do interventions that will give people 30,000 a month, 35,000 a month, 10,000 a month allowance. It is okay to do that, but that would never genuinely leave people out of poverty. We need to find long-lasting solutions that will promote prosperity, that will bring people out of poverty, that will help to change the way that people live and the way that people's minds are. And the environment forms the thoughts. So when you are around people who think poor, poverty, let me say that again, is not lack of money. It's a mindset. So for example, when you have a poor mentality, they give you something. You want to hold everything to yourself. You don't pay your tithe or your tax because of a mindset. Many people have greed mindset. So they don't even help others. They don't even support the society. They don't lift people out of poverty. They get somewhere. So when you see somebody who gets and just have mass wealth and is not helping people, also it's a mindset. Maybe the person has been so poor, you understand? It's all a mindset. So when we begin to change, some people will wake up, it's a mindset. That's how they are raising their children. And when that guy comes, cannot graduate from secondary school, ends up being a mechanic, doing tout and a riser, you begin to wonder what happened. It is the way that the parent has. So that child now becomes a political tool and gets to be able to influence something, becomes a local government chairman and begins to do anyhow. Does not deliver value to the people. You blame the party or you blame the government. No, you blame the upbringing of that person. And the Yoruba always says that you know one to right. In other words, no matter how your parent failed in raising you, you must raise yourself. You must become better. Everybody has a gift. Everybody can become anything. There's nothing anybody has achieved in this world that I don't believe that I can achieve. It's only a matter of time. Every one of us. So, as young people, as I begin to wrap up, must understand that we all have a deposit of that gold. It's like natural resources. Adamawa and Zamfara and all those states, they have gold between their ground. But until you dig, and you begin to dig, extractive industry, begin to dig, then you see the gold in rubbles, you bring it out, you wash it, begin to see the diamond and the gold, they begin to come out, the beauty comes out. So if you are lacking something today, it's not just because society has failed, because the society has failed. Has failed our generation, even failed our parents' generation. The society could have been better. The years of militarization of our democracy in Nigeria, when all these military governments and the coup and the counter coup and the phantom coup were happening, was taken away from the development that our country could have achieved. So sometimes when you look at the parents, you can also understand what they had gone through. Because if the country had maintained the development after independence, it would be far better than where we are. When cocoa in Ibadan was profitable, when we had NTA in Ibadan, when we had a lot of progress across the various countries. The granite pyramids in the north. If we had continued with those developments, we would have been able. Go on said our problem was not lack of money. Our problem was how to spend it. What we're going to spend it on. That was just 40-something years ago. Today our problem is money. We don't even have money to service our full budget. We are taking loans every day because we don't have money. Successive generations and administrations that have not helped us during the military government. So now a lot of the people in this generation today are now trying to salvage. My governor is trying to build a 4th Mainland bridge that could have been built 30 years ago. Governor Fashola started a rail line, red line and blue line, which my governor is working on and implementing, that could have been built 50 years ago. So when we talk about the labors of our heroes past, we must also remember the failures of our heroes past. But we have a responsibility not to let the failures of our heroes past hold us down.
Thank you for that. So, Honorable, we have youth are actually looking up to you. They see you as a role model.
God is the role model.
We
are all human. Nobody's perfect.
I just want to ask you this question now. See you as a role model today. Can we also see you as a role model tomorrow? You might ask, you might wonder why I'm asking you this question, because we have youth. They've looked up to a lot of people, seen them as a role model. But today, they really spot a lot of things. And when you see them, you just see that okay, this was the person I had as my role model, but today it has changed. So can we see you tomorrow as a role model?
I pray so, by the grace of the Almighty. For me, my relationship with God is very key and very critical. I'm not a perfect human being like everybody. Even my general overseer is not a perfect human being. We're all not perfect. God knows that we're not perfect. That's why His Son came to die for us. But I continually, this is 20-something years of doing what I do, because I genuinely have a heart. When we started doing these things, it wasn't popular. When I started child NGO, nobody had an NGO that was my age or my generation in Nigeria at that time. When I got baptized and became a worker redeemed, nobody had that kind of background at that time, at that age. It wasn't the norm. But consistently and with tenacity, we have continued to grow and rise in the process. And we pray that with the grace of God, we will not derail, and that we will continue to be a shining light to the generation. So those kind of that it requires the continuous grace of God. You understand? And I pray that the grace will never depart from me.
Yes, thank you. And what's your final advice to the youth?
My final advice to everybody who's watching us and going to watch this video: stand up, get up, smell the coffee, go and do something with your life. Society has failed us quite all right. All of us. See me today here looking like this. Don't think that anybody helped you. It is God. It is God, and legal also, and doing something and saying resilient, saying I will never give up. So you also have a responsibility to stand up and go and do something with yourself. Find that dream, find that goal, save that money, go and do your best to do something legally to make a meaning out of your life. Tell all the naysayers that is possible. Let me tell you one story before I go. In 1999, I went to meet a pastor's wife, and I said, Mommy, I want to go to England to go and study. Can you give me £15 for UCAS form? That was like the jam in the UK at that time. She told me to tell my mother to come and see her. My mother went to see her. She said to my mom, talk to your son. He's over ambitious. You live in a room and parlor in Kano Street. You want to go and study in England. £8,000, £10,000 tuition fee a year. Where is he going to get the money from? If I give £15 now, will you be able to pay the tuition fee of £8,000? Tell him he let a man gradually along. Guess what? 2-3 years down the line, I got a scholarship to go to that same England to go and study. I did my foundations, I did my first degree. In 2004, she came to England. I was in university already, I believe, at that time, for a program. She came with Redeem for a program at that time. I think she was invited, and she was in the first row sitting next to Mommy Gio. I walked up to her, I knelt down, I prostrated, I said, good evening, man. She looked at me and said, Baolo Shedebi. In other words, how did you get here? The stone which the builder rejected has become the cornerstone. She never believed that I could achieve it. But the rest is history. So you have to stand up and do something with yourself and be able to silence the naysayers.
Thank you very much. It's been lovely having you with us in the studio. We hope to have you another time. Okay, we've been discussing with Honorable Dayo Israel, permanent board member of SUBEB. And he has advised youth, and he says, get up, stand up, get a coffee, and dream, and always do something better for yourself. Be a problem solver. And he says poverty is a thing of the mindset. And he also said something today that really made me laugh. He says bedwetting is actually a blessing. That actually made me laugh, but I know it's not an excuse for children to bedwet. Thank you very much. It's been lovely having you with us in the studio. And that's all we have today on Youth and Social Life. Don't forget that you can always like and follow us on our social media platforms that are showing on your screen, and visit our website www.vanguardngr.com to get some of the stories we are reporting here on Vanguard Live, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to stay safe, protect yourself, and stay smart. It's bye from me on the show.